Okay, I want you to do something for me. Just really quickly, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to imagine something. So close your eyes and I want you to imagine a big labyrinth maze, one of those garden mazes where the walls are all covered in vines and leaves and they're really, really high. It's a big, complex labyrinth maze with all of these twists and turns. Now, you've been put right in the middle of that maze. You can't see too far in front of you. It's really hard to make out any kind of the right path. How do you feel at this moment? Is this something that you get excited about and you're like, yes, let's find the way through the maze? Or does it make you feel a little bit anxious? Does it make you feel a little bit nervous now that you're dumped in this whole environment of ambiguity and uncertainty? Now, what's your plan? How are you planning to navigate through this maze? How are you planning on getting out of it? And if you've still got your eyes closed, please open them back up. And I want you to really think about what's your strategy. Your success in this information depends on your ability to be able to embrace ambiguity and uncertainty so that you can leverage your neural resourcefulness to be able to find solutions, even amidst all of the fog and the vines and the not being able to see in front of us. Now, it doesn't mean that it's easy. Navigating through that maze, it can be a really daunting task, especially when ambiguity and uncertainty are clouding our path, especially when we can't see a clear way forward. But it's these exact moments of bewilderment that our neural resourcefulness can really shine. It can really come to play. And how we do that is we embrace that ambiguity and that uncertainty. And that allows us to It does some really cool things to our brain, actually, and it allows us to tap into our creative problem-solving abilities and to find new solutions as well. So I'm going to dive into a little bit of that cool stuff that's happening in the brain, and then I'll tell you a couple of strategies that you can work on to help get yourself out of that maze as well. Okay. The first thing to understand is our brains are wired to seek certainty and predictability. So our brains don't like being in these environments of ambiguity and uncertainty triggers a primal response in our brain. It activates our amygdala and it triggers the release of stress hormones. Now, this initial reaction, it's designed to give us a little bit of a boost to get out of danger, but it also hinders our ability to think creatively and to find effective solutions because we literally go into survival mode. Now, here's the thing. When we push past that and when we consciously embrace ambiguity and uncertainty, something changes, something magical happens, and we start to engage different neural networks that support our resourcefulness. So we start to lessen our reactiveness to that amygdala, to that fight and flight response, to those stress hormones, and we start to involve other areas of our brains like our prefrontal cortex. And this is responsible for our decision-making, our cognitive flexibility, our memory. When we embrace ambiguity, our prefrontal cortex becomes more engaged. It switches on, and we basically move from that idea of fight or flight. We move from that primal response into, okay, now I'm starting to be able to regulate my emotional responses. Now I'm able to think more rationally. Now I'm able to start to make some better decisions. Okay, because I'm not letting my emotions overtake me. Interesting. Now, something else happens. Your anterior cingulate cortex, which is involved in conflicts and error detection, it also comes into play. So we've gone from this state where we're faced with uncertainty and ambiguity and we're not embracing it, and our amygdala is lighting up and it's saying, run, fight, get out of here, and that's all. We've got all of this stress happening and we're in that mode. But then when we take a breath, we embrace the uncertainty, we embrace the ambiguity, our prefrontal cortex becomes engaged, our anterior cingulate cortex becomes engaged, and now we're starting to be able to navigate that uncertainty by detecting inconsistencies, by making smarter decisions, and it's allowing us to explore alternate solutions. Now, that's a really cool thing, and that's pretty much how our brain works. It goes on autopilot until we proactively make a decision to switch it up. It doesn't mean that your amygdala always needs to hijack your thinking. We just need to be aware of it. So what are the things that we can do to embrace ambiguity and to embrace uncertainty? Well, the first thing is around our framing of the uncertainty. We need to be able to reframe uncertainty as opportunity. And so instead of perceiving ambiguity as a threat, look at it as an opportunity for growth and innovation. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? And that comes down to having confidence in yourself that you can actually get through it as well. You want to have the skills in place. You want to have the resources in place. And then you're able to sit there and go, well, what can I learn from this uncertainty? How can I use this to my advantage? And making that shift in your mindset is crucial, because this now allows you to approach the situation with curiosity and with open mindfulness, and that stimulates resourceful thinking, and that stops that emotional response. Another thing that we should do is we should practice our tolerance for ambiguity. So like any skill, embracing ambiguity, it requires practice. So start out by intentionally exposing yourself to uncertain situations and gradually increase your tolerance for ambiguity by immersing yourself in unfamiliar tasks or environments. And when we challenge ourselves to find solutions without all of the information that's readily available, this starts to enhance how we're able to extrapolate information from incomplete data sets. That strengthens our neural circuits that are involved in resourcefulness and efficiency. Now, another thing that we want to do here is we want to really unmask the neural mechanics of this as well. So again, this is taking that step to understand what's happening. And if we find ourselves stuck in this thing of, I know I'm supposed to, think about this, and I know I'm supposed to reframe, but I'm stressed and I'm worried and I'm just all overloaded and my emotions are really hitting me for six, we need to be able to stop, and we need to actually be able to understand what's going on and understand that concept, that fact that our brains are able to adapt and to process uncertain information. We're able to engage that prefrontal cortex. We're able to manage our ambiguity. But that only happens by updating our beliefs and by generating adaptive responses and by evaluating different options. So we need to really understand what's happening on that neural level so we can control it. And I do this all the time. When I get stressed or when that amygdala is taking over and I notice it and I'm self-aware, I go, okay, Dave, you're getting carried away with yourself. Go and take some time to relax yourself. Go and take some time to get back into control, some deep breathing, some somatic exercises, and come at this again. You know that this is a stress response, okay? You know that there's a way to engage your prefrontal cortex, and you just need to get yourself a little bit calm beforehand. And trying to get calm when you're not calm, or when somebody says just calm down, that's a whole other thing, right? But again, practice, practice, practice. And one of the things that can help us is embracing our emotional resilience. So we know that uncertainty, ambiguity, it makes us anxious, it makes us fear, we're scared of making the wrong decision, we're scared of making a decision that we can't undo. And so you need to work on that emotional resilience. You need to work on managing those negative emotions, because when we let it take over, it actually like short circuits our prefrontal cortex, and we can't think clearly. We can't think like a rational human that we want to be, because humans are really great at thinking logical, but we're much better at acting emotionally as well. So we need to be able to embrace our emotional resilience so that we can regulate our emotions and maintain that positive mindset as well. And the last thing that I want to talk to you about is leveraging metaphorical thinking. So metaphorical thinking is a really powerful tool for being able to navigate that neural maze. And that's why I started out with this idea of a maze. How do you get out of that maze? And when we start to think like that, when you're in these situations, I want you to place yourself in different metaphors. And when we do that, when we draw parallels between unrelated domains, this is where we can uncover innovative solutions, because metaphors allow us to reframe the problem, allows us to encourage flexible thinking and creativity. So take a moment to think, how can you find a metaphorical connection between whatever ambiguous situation you're currently facing and something completely different? So, you might say something like, oh, I need to I can't understand why my team is not listening to me. Okay, well, let's place this in a in a different environment, and let's say that a team, getting my team to listen to me is kind of like baking a cake. Well, what do I need in order to bake a cake? I need all of the right ingredients. I need a recipe. I need to know the outcomes, and I need the actual skills to be able to do that. So, do I have the right ingredients for this? What are the right ingredients? Do I have the right skills? Do I have a strategy? And you work through it. And when we draw those parallels, you're going to go, oh, you know what? I don't have all the ingredients I need. Actually, I don't even have a recipe for this. Actually, I don't even know what the outcome I'm going for is. So, before launching into trying to get my team to work better together, I need to actually get the subcomponents, all of the things that go together to make this work, sorted out before I go and approach and try and do something that I'm not actually equipped or ready to do. And again, this isn't about stopping and not trying to go and make things happen. This is about giving yourself that best opportunity to be able to actually go out and capitalize and to make a difference as well. And when it comes down to ambiguity and uncertainty, a really great trick for that is to do some of that metaphorical thinking so that we can start to understand things in a different way and make different connections to things that are familiar to us to help us overcome the things that are unfamiliar to us. Now, this is not an easy task, but it is a skill that can be developed with practice and with intention as well. So understand that neuroscience behind it. Understand that you can take steps to empower yourself to be able to navigate that maze, to overcome those complex challenges, but it needs confidence. It needs efficiency as well. That maze, there's not just one way out of that maze. You know, there's potentially 100 wrong ways to get out and maybe 5 or 10 right ways to get out. And you only need to find one of those right ways as well. So have a think about how you can start to apply this thinking into your day-to-day life. Where are those areas that you get frustrated? Where are those areas where you feel like you don't have enough information? You're not certain about what actually needs to happen. And you might be at one of these stages where that ambiguity and that uncertainty has stopped you from moving forward. So go into that situation, tackle it again now, and start to apply some of these ideas. Start to apply some of these reframing of the uncertainty as an opportunity. Practice some of that tolerance as well. Start to do some of that metaphorical thinking. Embrace and elevate your emotional resilience and really understand the neural mechanics that are at work here. And when we do that, you're going to start to love some of this ambiguity, start to love some of this uncertainty because of where it's going to take you. That's all for now. Talk to you real soon. Bye now.